So moving on now to a show that I'm really excited to talk about. A show that I just had a hell of a lot of fun watching. Actually, this is Primal. This is the latest
Yes.
TV series from the legendary. I know I'm gonna fuck the name up, but whatever. Genndy Tartakovsky.
Yes.
He has produced some of the best cartoons that I would say ever, in my opinion. You know, what I mean,
Yeah.
like Dexter's Lab, Samurai
Right.
Jack, which I love. I still love the show to the day. Um, he worked on stuff like Powerpuff Girls, the Batman the
Yeah.
animated series, Tiny Toon
Yeah.
Adventures. You know what I mean? So the man in the game for the longest
And
while.
for me he did the Star Wars Clone Wars
Yes, yes,
shorts.
yes, yes. The shorts, which I totally love. I love
Right.
them so much. I don't even care to watch the Clone Wars series or any other animated Star Wars
Yeah.
series. Actually,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It's a high point. It's a high point in Star Wars in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But good thing that you touch on that too, because something I want to talk about quickly about his style, about his aesthetic, right? Before I jump into the synopsis for this, right? Is what I love the most about him is that you could tell that because he does storyboard his stuff, right? He does storyboard his films, and you could tell that he just has a sharp eye for imagery, for just
Yeah.
what each shot um is about, like what is he
Yeah.
telling, and it's usually with using little to no dialogue actually, which is something that he
Yeah.
did well with both Star Wars: The Clone Wars to an extent
Yeah.
and Samurai Jack. I really with Samurai
Yeah.
Jack where I saw these great episodes, right? Like one in particular that still stands out to me was the scene with Jack, and it's him in this sort of tundra area, and he has to go up against these like Anubis like dogs who are in this tower, and they have these arrows, so he has to make himself blind so he could hear their movements and stuff like that, and it's mostly done without dialogue, and it's just
Yeah.
shot after shot after shot, image after image. How do you tell the story without the use of dialogue? And that just blew me away, and I was like, okay, this is like great storytelling right here. It's like bare bones storytelling, back to basics storytelling.
Yeah.
Well, to get film nerdy, it's like silent film. It's literally like you're watching a silent film, but just with badass characters and great visuals, right? And he continues this now with Primal, right? Which,
Yeah.
as I said at the beginning here, is his real attempt at going for full TV Emmy. Like I know he was kind of teasing it a bit with the final season of Samurai Jack. He went for a
Yeah.
more TV PG kind of vibe. It was a little bit more violent, but it just worked in terms of yeah, it's been a long time since I'm doing this, and now things change, so now I could just kind of let loose, and have a little elbow room to really tell the stories I want to tell. And you could tell with this one here that this was something that, yeah, he must have had in his subconscious for the longest while, but because this is just raw, and as the title says, primal. It is
Yeah.
very, very, very bare bones. You could tell that he was channeling, Robert E. Howard stuff. You know what I mean? Like Conan the
Yeah.
Barbarian, Red
Yeah.
Sonja, that kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Where it's just grimy and dirty and bloody
Yeah.
and brutal, right? But at the same time, it just showcases just how much of a master he is, though. Just in terms of just visually just telling a story with no dialogue. Like in this show here, there is literally no dialogue. If there is dialogue, actually, come to think of it, there's no dialogue. It's just basically grunts and roars and yells and screams and you know just that. You know what I mean? Just normal human and animal reactions, right? Verbal
Yeah.
reactions. But there's no line or word of dialogue spoken in the show at all, which I totally love, right? And it fits the show very well as well. So, story in a nutshell is that we have a caveman. His name is Spear. Well, in the end credits, they call him Spear, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And through some circumstances, well, he loses his family to this herd of dinosaurs. It happens quite
Yeah.
brutally, actually. And while he more or less leaves his home to try to find his own path now, he runs into a female dinosaur. Well, in this case, they call her what's her
Fun.
name? Yeah, they call her Fang. Well,
Fun.
which is
Fun.
weird because they don't mention it in the linear notes in the end credits, right? The voice that's being
Well,
credited is the guy who voices Spear, right?
right.
And basically she loses her family too by yeah, the same group of like marauding dinosaurs there. So
Yeah.
they form this kind of like unlikely bond, you know what I mean? At first, it's typical stuff, man having to deal with a beast basically. Beast is wild, doesn't likes to do things on its own and all that kind of stuff. So you know what to expect, right? And
Right.
but with these 5 episodes, or I should say with the 4 episodes, because in the first one is where they actually meet, you see the circumstances. But with the other 4 episodes, you really see how they learn to kind of work together.
Yeah.
And it's just with each
I
episode, it's just one perilous situation
okay. So
after another, and that's it.
I only watched the first 3 episodes. I didn't see 4 and 5.
Okay, well, I saw all 5, and I'm not gonna
Right.
spoil what the last 2 episodes are. I actually want you to go in and just be
Yeah.
wowed by it, but I'll just talk about the show as a whole. And well, the best way I can describe it though is that it's just so simple, so concise,
Yeah.
to the point, so bare bones, like I say, in terms of its storytelling, that even a caveman can get. Haha, get it, right? Yeah, it is just so incredibly straightforward. And I think to me that is the biggest strength of of this series here. How
Right.
straightforward it is. You don't have to dig in deep. You know what I mean? Like, you can make kind of a slight little, analysis about it. Like, oh, we're talking about evolution, and this the idea that,
Right.
yeah, man was this savage creature, and
Right.
dinosaurs were savage too, and we kind of devolved into that same thing. So that's why the violence is just so visceral and in your face. It's like, but that's just reading too much into it. Like, if you really want to criticize the show, yeah, you could go deep like that. But no, just like with Samurai Jack, just like with well, not so much Clone Wars, but just like with Samurai Jack,
Yeah.
it's all about simple storytelling. It's about
Right.
characters in very, very dangerous, very perilous situations. They get slashed at, they break bones, and it's just how they deal with it, right? And the
Right.
character of Spear is just a fucking badass, too. And what I like
Right.
about him, right? Like, you look at him, first glance, oh, he's just a caveman, walking around with his spear. Every time he jump in to kill somebody, he was going, yeah, which I laugh at a bit. Like, every time he had to go and charge and he was screaming, right? But whatever, he's a caveman, right? But he is so resourceful, Jay. Like, the way how he just move in certain situations, like, dog, you like real smart though. And same thing goes for for Fag herself. Like, but then because she's a dinosaur, you understand. Okay, well, it's an animal, instinct and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it's really Spears' character. I was just blown away by just how he works in certain situations. Like a whole squad of creatures, that's all I'll say, could rush towards him and he will know how to move. He will know how to maneuver. He will break this person's spine and he will just go in, right? Almost like he just have it all kind of played out there. But in his case, it's just survival. That's what it is. It's
Right.
survival that fuels him. And that's why he moves the way he moves, right? And I was just blown away by that. Also, animation is stunning in my opinion. I got to see the final episode because I was watching on my laptop there, but I was fortunate to see the final episode on a big monitor, and it just looked exquisite in my opinion, right? Just the colors they use, these warm colors, you know what I mean. But when it gets dark, of course, there's still these bright colors to just to make things a little bit more pleasing to the eye there. And like I say, yes, this series, sorry, is brutal. It is very unforgiving in terms of what it showcases, but it never goes too far though, which is something that I kind of like. Like, there
Yeah.
is a slight level of restraint in terms of how characters die there. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that the show just kind of shows the consequence of that. So somebody like Spear can kind of understand, oh, this is what death feels like, and this is something that they can explore in the series here. Then, like how he responds to that, how he learns to understand that. One episode in particular, this will be episode 3, A Cold Death,
Right.
really beautifully expresses that in terms of
Yeah.
the mammoth that ends up getting killed and how
Well,
he
mama.
looks at that, and then well the other mammoths, and just that moment how the other mammoths respond to that was just beautiful, because they have
Yeah.
these really heartfelt moments as well too, even amidst the blood and guts. You know what I mean? There's a lot of thought put into it. And we, like I say, just from a storyboard perspective, you can tell, we Jenny just, it's like, all right, this is what I wanted to shot. This is where the camera's gonna move. This is what's gonna show here. I mean, visually. And to me, if you are a connoisseur of animation, you're gonna love this. This to me kind of reminds me, not just of Robert E. Howard's, Conan films. Sorry, Conan books. It also kind of reminds me of stuff like, see, heavy metal, you know what I mean? Like adult animation, stuff that
Yeah,
just really show you these really unique worlds, and, what I mean, when you show violence is in a very stylized kind of way, you know what I mean? So it's very over the top, but you could tell, yeah, you could feel the crunch in the bones. You could feel when a character gets stabbed or, slashed in the back and all that kind of stuff. The last things I also want to see, the music for this, fan freaking tastic in my opinion. They get Tyler Beats to work on this because when you get Tyler Beats to work on a show, it's like, well, would yeah, see no more. You know what I mean?
yeah,
300 John Wick. The man just kill it, right? And he just brought this really dark, grim, epic score to it. Another person who worked on it on the music was Joanne Higginbottom, but I don't know anything about her work. But I was hearing Tyler Bates' aesthetic true and true this. So overall, I know you didn't see the last two episodes, but I love this, and it just had more like, especially that final episode. I'm wondering if we actually gonna get a next, another season for this stuff, because
right.
yeah, we kind of have to though. But if it just can't just be 5 episodes and that's it. I move it on to something else. We have to get more of this. But for what I got here, I was completely blown away from episode one, frame 1 second, 1 minute one, whatever you call it. I was just hooked from the word go. I love this show here. It's one of my favorite shows of 2019. Hell, it's one of my favorite shows of the decade thus far. And the mere fact that it's animation and it's not just, oh, we're going to be violent for the sake of being violent. It's violent sort of telling these stories. It's like, dude, this is prehistoric times. This is how it's supposed to be. Yeah, they kind of go a little over the top at times, especially like that final episode. That's all I'll say, but it just works. So it works. It sets up the tone, the aesthetic, everything fits here. So for me, I go in high with this strong 4.5 out of 5. This is not for the faint of heart, but if you were blown away by the trailers, if you just saw like a picture or two and he's like, well, would caveman and dinosaur kicking ass? I want to see this. Yeah,
Right.
see this as soon as you can. This is an
Yeah.
absolute must see for me.
Right. Yeah. I'll get the. I have a couple issues. Let's get it bad out of the way first.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. What was he
Mainly.
about? Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't like. Okay, so I know that he going for. Well, you mentioned this writer, but I was thinking of Edgar
Robert E.
Rice
Owen.
Burroughs. Yeah, but
Oh,
I was
Edgar
thinking of
Rice
Edgar.
Burroughs, like
Right.
Tarzan. Right.
Right. And so I had a problem personally. I had a problem with it being unrealistic. Right. It's not historically accurate.
I
Not
know it's
biology.
it's exaggerated a lot. It's a
Right.
lot of exaggeration.
Yeah. So the whole. So I'd have preferred if Fang was a saber-tooth tiger or a wolf and not a dinosaur, right, or something like that.
That
I
would
didn't
have
care.
been great to do. That would have been cool
The
enough.
thing is, he didn't remember that had an episode in the final season of Samurai Jack where Jack had to be with his this wolf. Like I thought
Yes,
we was
yes.
that. Like we could have gotten a whole series of that, but whatever. And again, because you're sci-fi nerd, you're nitpicking the realism of the situation. It's like, why would a dinosaur, the dinosaur effectively behaving like a mammal? It
Yeah,
don't have to
it,
worry
it,
about
it does move like a dog a lot, and it has
exactly.
moments where it moves so much like a dog. I was just laughing at it, like especially
Right.
like when it rotates and then curls up in a ball to sleep. I was like, this is
Yeah, yeah.
so dog like that. It's cute, but it's funny at the same time now.
Right. So stuff like that is fine. But whatever. I wanted it to be more realistic in that sense. Secondly, the animation look well. This is animation. I find some of that look a little cheaper at times. I feel like there's cutting corners here or there in a couple episodes.
Look, it's rough. I would say that it has a
Yeah,
rough look to it,
it
especially
a
with the
little
character
unpolished.
design. It's very rough, or rough
So
around the
when,
edges.
when when certain characters yelling and things like that, it's like, oh, this is looking a little on cheap end of things.
Well,
But again, it's
I
fine.
just that's a aesthetic choice, at least I think, in the way how the characters look, especially when they emote, you know what I mean? But that's how we mean. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then the violence. Surprisingly, a lot of this violence didn't work for me. And here's why.
Or if it
Because
was
it just
too gratuitous or something.
a little bit. But here's the thing. Usually when Tartakovsky does violence, it's just on camera and implication. And that
Right.
works better than just showing the character actually going through what you think that they should be going through. So sometimes the violence totally work, like broken leg and stuff like that. But then other times you get the feeling that they just do the violence just to pad out the time.
Oh, I see, I
In my
see. Because yeah, you do have these
yeah,
action sequences
yeah,
where
yeah.
characters
So
just going all out and just
yeah,
breaking
they'll just have
bones
these
and
extended. Yeah, they'll have these extended these extended like violence moments, and then they just kind of after you see him stab something in the face the first time, you kind of get bored of it after the fourth and fifth time he did it, right? I find
True,
the
true, true.
action, the first action sequence was great, and then every action sequence after that didn't really stick with me. It just felt kind of boring.
Okay, okay,
So
okay. I got you. I got you.
I wasn't that into it, but everything else is fine. Like it's pretty good. I have to watch those final two episodes.
Yeah. Well,
As
you were
it is,
complaining about violence, so well, I think you might be let down a bit by the final
right?
episode though. And this is
Yeah,
that's the one where they just really went all out, and that's where, like I was talking about, if you want to interpret it as just this commentary on de-evolution, okay, I guess, but when you see it, you'll understand.
right. The thing is, it does a lot right about in terms of like just the whole beginning of civilization, right? You know, is the whole this character missing his family and he missing this and that and the other. He care for the dead. Like again, the episode with the Mamats are quite good. That was a pretty good episode in my opinion.
Yeah,
With the elephant graveyard at the ending, well, Mamat graveyard at the ending, that
yeah,
was pretty cool.
that was fantastic actually. Yeah,
Yeah. And I thought they nailed a lot of stuff with it for what it was. But I still ultimately was just I liked it, but I didn't love it. You know,
okay,
it wasn't.
it was too much style, but not substance, which
Well,
I guess is
I
the
get
point, you know.
I,
It's the point.
I get what they were
It's
going
all
for.
substance actually, not so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's all style, but it's not really about substance. It's about,
No, there's
you know,
substance there. There's substance there in terms of like what, especially what Spear is going through in terms of what Spear's processing. You know, he's a simple mind, but is the beginning of you know higher cognition and perspectives because of loss and because of his emptiness. He'd already have an ex family. He died
right?
it. He have something else going on for him, kind of thing. That he just have fun, and he does a lot of mourning in this, right?
Yes, he does.
So
He
it
does.
there's internal, the internal feeling and perspectives going on. It's not like there's nothing there. Um, but I just felt that some of this was a bit repetitive, and I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. Um, that's about it. But everything else is great. Like it's actually quite good for what
Yeah,
it is.
but
Um,
as you're talking there, I think with this 5 episode run is just like a, well, like a tease test kind of, just to see
exactly,
how people
exactly.
gonna respond to it. But I
Yeah,
really do think that he should kind of expand it with a
yeah.
second season.
It
Keep the
feels
aesthetic, keep it the way it is. But
a
as I
lot of it.
said, just kind of improve or just make sure that things don't get repetitive. Because yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
while I do like to see some heads get chopped off or stabbed through, with a spear, what I mean, there's only so much you can do. There's only so much times and scenarios
right.
you can have that
And
happen again and again and again.
yeah, it is very piloty early stuff, right? So stuff like that I don't have a problem with. As it is. So, you again, much like with a pilot, you have to get rough around the edges, right? You have to smoothen out the stuff. So
Yeah,
stuff have to smoothen out, and that is about it. Again, no big complaint. It's typical pilot shit, as you say. Um, Other than that, I again, all the other things that you cover, I agree with. It's really good. It has a good flow and energy to everything.
yeah. And I
Eh,
would say it's one of those shows that, because yeah, I think all of them clocking at about 22 minutes. Time will really fly because it's so damn fun. Like I was
yeah,
just like, all right, I enjoyed the flow, I enjoyed everything about it. It didn't feel like any moment was really wasted. Everything
yes,
needed to be there. So when
yes. But
those 22
that's
minutes wrapped up, I was
yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
I get a fix. I get a fix.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
As I say, these episodes could have just probably been a bit shorter, just to speed up the. Because I felt a lot of the violence was like just padding, like they'll just show somebody bleeding out for a while, and it's like, all right, well, okay, he bleed out enough.
Right.
They're going on, and it just felt like padding more than anything, and stuff like that would have just cut at that point. Tartakovsky, when he does violence from before, especially in like Star Wars, he should do something, and then the character dead, and then that type of brutality was enough to the character reaction works more than just seeing the actual violence in many
Right,
cases.
right, right.
And I felt he was better at that. But with this, when he just showing everything now, the impact not strong for me personally. Just kind of a lot of it falls. It's still good, but it will fall a little flat for me, a little bit. So that's about it. So yeah, but just written so far. Well, just 3 episodes that I watch and what you will think. But so far I get like an 8 out of 10, pretty strong for me. Um, Good.
Yeah. And like we
Yeah.
said before, I mean, from just what we said, of course, this is not for the faint of heart. If you just don't like to see blood, especially animated blood, or see characters suffer and get bones broken and stuff like that, yeah, this is not
Yeah,
gonna be for you, Dread. Especially like if you're an animal lover, yeah, you are going to have a field day with this, Dread. But if
yeah,
you could just go in with, I don't want to say have your brain on the floor or whatever like that, but if you could just go with an open mind and just expect to be, because this is very visceral. Again, it's all the way. This is a very visceral show, but it works in terms of what these stories that he's telling and just the world that he's building here. What Genndy's building here. If
yeah,
you could stomach that, then yeah, I mean
yeah.
it's just 5 episodes. It's like about a 2 hour binge. I actually strongly recommend you binge this. And yeah, you'll have a blast with this one.
Yeah, I just still I say my only wish is that I wish that they stick to if it was a more realistic or plausible narrative that would have worked for me. So if he was like in the real Neolithic period, so again if the character was a saber tooth and he tamed a saber tooth or a wolf, it would have worked.
Yeah,
Well, a dire wolf or whatever it is the equivalent of a wolf was at that time. Uh, it would have worked a little better for him, but because the dinosaur thing is take it out of him a little bit.
yeah,
Especially when you're seeing all these other animals in the Neolithic period. You see wolves and you see mammoths and all this other shit. It's
yeah.
right. The dinosaur thing is just kind of thrown out it. But other than that, it's fine.
Right.
I thought it was. Cool.